Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So let's talk about November favourites. Before I launch into the little display in front of us, I just wanted to say two things by way of thanks, really. First of all, thanking you all for your feedback to various recent videos, particularly a couple of people sent me tips about dealing with eczema, which was really great. I think, for me, one of the great things about YouTube, which is frankly just a money making exercise for most people, or for a lot of people. And for me, YouTube isn't about that. It's about sharing views and passions and information, and there is no better vehicle for that because you can reach people all over the world with completely different perspectives, but who share the same interests, hobbies, passions, problems as you do. So without sounding too sentimental or gushing, I am really grateful for those who engage with my little efforts on YouTube and share their really valuable information with me and with others, because I think that's one of the things that the internet generally and YouTube in particular should be about. So thanks for that. And also, on a kind of minor note, I'm heading slowly but steadily to the point of having a whole 500 subscribers. I think I'm in the upper 490s at the moment. That is not a big landmark in terms of YouTuber subscribers for most people who are regularly putting videos out there, but for me it seems like a big deal because I can't quite believe that 500 people can be bothered to want to watch my videos and to subscribe. So I do appreciate that, and it's done in my case without doing it for profit or offering giveaways or anything like that. It's just putting the stuff that interests me out there. So I'm extremely grateful to those of you who subscribe. So, with that out of the way, the first product I want to mention that I've been using and loving in the last month is absolutely as a result of some feedback that I got. Now, I started to look and I can't find who actually recommended this product, but I'm going to look again and I'll put it in the info panel below. But it was when I was talking about my dry lips and somebody mentioned these Yves Saint Laurent, and oh, it's so small I can't even see what it's called. I think it's called, I can't see, but they're a lip oil. Again, I'll try and put it in the info panel below. You can tell I just come on air and talk. I don't do my research, but what can you do? Now, these are really interesting. I hadn't read anything about them or seen anything about them before someone recommended. But basically, it's an oil, a bit like the kind of inconsistency oils you'd put on your cuticles, but coloured for the lips. This is the most vibrantly coloured one, and when you swatch it, it doesn't look like anything at all. It does develop a bit deeper on the lips, so it's almost a sort of lip stain. But basically, it's a conditioning oil, and I just find it really nice to wear. It's got the very typical Yves Saint Laurent perfume, which is very strong. It's quite fruity. I really like it, but I mean, some people won't. I mean, it's the only reason I have a couple of these Rouge Volupte, which, I mean, I love the colour of this one. You can see I have used it a bit. I'm not very keen on the consistency of these. They're very slippery, slidey. So I've put it in here, not because it's a real favourite, and certainly not because I'm not wearing it at the moment. It's a real summer colour for me. But it does have exactly the same fragrance as the oil. So if you're familiar with one, this is the same. Maybe all the Yves Saint Laurent lip products have that fragrance taste now. I don't know. I don't buy a lot from the range. But yeah, really liking this. I do feel it has some conditioning effect on the lips. but it's just a nicer product to wear when you're kind of working on the dryness of your lips, but in the day, so you want to look nice as well because it gives the shine and a little bit of colour. It does wear off quite quickly. So loving that. And then surprisingly for me, because I'm not a lip gloss person, I have been loving the Glossimer 487 from Chanel, which is part of the Rouge Noir Christmas collection. You know, I don't know if it's partly, I just love looking at those little gold sparkles in the vampy plum maroon in the tube. It doesn't look quite that glittery on the lips, but it is nice. It's very comfortable to wear, and as lip glosses go, it lasts a bit better than many. And the other lip product, there's a lot here, aren't there, that I love the look of and how it applies is the Guerlain Christmas, what's this called? Maxi Velvet. It is a drying product. That's the downside of it, which is why I need the lip oil. So I do find after I've worn this, it definitely makes my lips afterwards feel quite dry. But as liquid lipsticks go, and I think there are problems generally with their formulas, which I talked about when I first showed this. This is probably the best one that I've tried. I haven't tried the Chanel ones, you should bear in mind. It is reasonably long lasting. It doesn't wear off patchily, and it doesn't leak around the edges of the lips. So I like that, and I just love the colour of this one. So I have, although it looks untouched, been wearing that a lot. What doesn't look untouched is this Burberry eye cream in number 100 gold called the Eye Colour Cream. You can see what progress I've made with this, and I only bought it a couple of months ago. It's a really nice texture, but you do need a lot of it to pigment, but it's really easy to use for just a very quick eye when you're rushed in the morning, really flattering to my colouring, so I can use it on its own with some liner and mascara, or as a base to a brown powdered eye. So I'm really loving that, using it really, really quickly. The other, two other things that I'm loving, definitely loving this. This is Tom Ford's Traceless foundation, so the older formulation of the two, which for some reason, well, because I had so many foundations on the go, I didn't buy until recently. I'm going to do, I think, a full video on this and the Charlotte Tilbury that I bought at the same time, and how I wear them and what I think, but I like it. It's definitely up there with my favourites. Probably not quite beating the By Terry Cover Expert, but I really like this. Good coverage, easy to use. The one, not disadvantage, but kind of danger marker I would put up. I bought this sight unseen because I knew my colour, which is between Pale Dune and Fawn, in the stick foundations, which I've used for some time, and a lot of the colours in this range have the same names and numbers, but they're not the same shade. This is definitely a bit darker than the stick, so it's not quite the perfect match for my skin, or my winter skin. It will be in the summer, so you do need to test at the counters rather than relying on the shades you're used to. I've also been trying a different mascara. You'll know that I am a fan of Le Volume de Chanel. It's the only mascara now that I use, the only one that I find doesn't give me panda eyes. But I had a sample of this one in the summer, or spring probably, and liked it. It was really difficult to get a full size because there aren't that many of the normal shops that I can rush into that stock Givenchy, and even online it's quite difficult. But I finally picked one up in Harrods. It's the Phenomenon mascara, Phenomenize it's called, and the distinctive factor is the little applicator, this little globe. It's a thinner formula than Le Volume, less gloopy, which in itself I like less. I will say that after 10 hours or so, it does give me some pandering, panda eyes. So it's not as good for me as Le Volume. But for a look where I want to differentiate between my eyelashes, which are naturally reasonably thick and long, this applicator is great. It really makes them stand out. So if you're looking for that slightly spiky look, rather than the kind of glossy and full, if you know what I mean, I think this is a good option, and it is a good mascara. I slightly regret that I got it in brown, which is more an everyday colour, and didn't go for black, because I think for me and the looks I go for, it's a nice evening mascara, but I am liking it. I've also been, and you can't get this anymore, so apologies. I had a bit of an over threading on my brows last month, so I do need to kind of fill in a bit more, and I'm finding powders more effective than my usual pencil. This is a MAC Kelly Osbourne Morning Mr. Magpie, it was called, Duo, which I'm using a lot, but kind of just a reminder to me how I think actually for my eyebrows, powder carefully applied achieves a better strong brow than pencils, or certainly if you haven't got very long to do it. I also like Omega for filling brows from the permanent MAC range. Update on the brushes that I showed. They feel lovely to use. I'm kind of unconvinced about the results. They do allow for very precise application, I would say. Using this as a blush brush does allow, if it's a very pigmented blush, real precision placement. But I do find they don't seem to pick up the product as easily and quickly as my old favourite MAC, I can't even read the number, 188, which still remains my favourite blush brush. It's slightly tapered, and I just find it easy and quick. What I have been using this one for, fairly dense but soft, is trying to cope with my meteorites, which I've never really got the perfect brush for, and a lot of brushes kind of pick up the globes, which is a nuisance. This one does that a little less. I've included my meteorites in the favourites, not because I think these are the best meteorites I've got, by no means. I actually think they're much weaker than more recent editions. I've talked about this before. They're a bit glittery, and they're okay, but nothing spectacular. But I do just love this snow globe. I've got it on my shelf in the bathroom, and I just love looking at it in the morning. So simple things, you know. Sometimes I think some of the pleasure we get from our makeup and our cosmetics and our skincare is just the aesthetics of looking at them, and that's okay. So those were my favourites for November. Well, it's too early to say happy Christmas to you yet, but happy Advent and preparing for Christmas and the holidays generally. And I will speak to you again soon. Bye for now.